How's it going, guys? This is Dr. David, and today we have Nandi on today. You can say hi.
Good morning.
But yeah, Doc T is a little busy right now, so we're just going to do another podcast at the moment.
Throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there.
See how everyone out there in podcast land is doing. Yep.
So if you're sick and tired of my voice, I apologize. Doc T will be on one soon.
Never sick and tired of David.
Hey, for once.
Yeah. Right.
Anyways, before we get into like the topic at hand here, because we stumbled across a fun one a couple minutes ago, really, while we were out there at the gym floor. How are you doing? How's your week?
Week was good. It is Friday, which is always nice. Week is always a little busy for me because I'm kind of scattered all over the place between two different clinics. But in general, been okay. I rode my mountain bike last week and it made me a little sore and made me realize I need to ride my mountain bike more.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Rode my road bike to work 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And I was sore for a week after that. So my back is kind of sore, and which got me, thinking a little bit more about the mobility of my back.
Yeah.
Based on now having my left hip replaced about 3 years ago, and in the process of the necessity of having my right hip replaced, but noticing how my mobility from my arthritic hip affects everything else. The way I squat, the way I lean down, the way I bend over, things like that. Even when I'm riding my bike, it definitely has some content to it. And realized after doing a little just very basic mobility exercise of open book, my back felt better. So, it always, when we look at the golf swing is a lot of spinal rotation, but also hip mobility, right?
100%.
Internal, external rotation with the backswing and the follow through. And so just thinking about all of that kind of got that sparked in my head.
Yeah, that's basically the topic that we're going to be talking about today. So I want you to hold that in your mind real quick. But it's fun that we get these topics off of just everyday stuff that we do, right? We're not trying to overcomplicate a wheel, right? We're not trying to overcomplicate things.
Not at all.
I hate to call ourselves content creators, but I guess we're creating content.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like a lot of the stuff that we tell you guys is stuff that we experience in our own lives too.
Right.
My week in general was a fun one. Had just a couple. I hate to say like basic patients, but it's been a bunch of firefighters that have been coming in with low back pain. So pretty straightforward cases for us to understand, just because, one, we work with that population a ton. And then two, I understand when they say, I had 3 days on, 2 days off. Their days are days. They're not 12-hour shifts. They are 24-hour shifts. So is part of it mechanics, or is it part of it they're just not resting well, they're not eating well, all the above, right? So it's been a fun little time dealing with that. And funny enough, I've been the TMJ guy recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about three patients this week.
Interesting.
TMJ related. So
my daughter had some TMJ issues. Yeah, she took a nap on the couch and woke up and her jaw was hurting. She's like, Dad, fix my jaw. So I worked on her jaw a little. She's like, oh, yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So their friends keep sending me over.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, no, and I had a patient. I had a TMJ patient, probably a patient with TMJ, I should say. Probably a couple months ago, probably about 3-4 months ago, and did some work on it and noticed I get some clicking and popping when I open too wide, and then did my own exercises, and that helped.
Yeah. So if you want that in the podcast, we probably will do that in a little bit.
That's a good idea, actually. That is a good one, because you can do everything. It can go from the very easy, basic self-massage to the masseter to as complex as...
Let's go to the pterygoids, baby.
Oh, boy, look out. But even like mobilizing, internal mobilization of the TMJ. So,
Yeah, so that one could be fun. And we might do that one a little bit later, just because Cairo here, PT over there, we both shoot TMJ.
Yep.
So it could be a fun one. But we'll save that one for later, because I'll write that one down.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we kind of brought up was more like golf swing related. You kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. You were riding your bike and you kind of thought about your hip.
Yeah.
But Nandi and Alvin have been basically golfing in the office.
Oh, yeah. Every chance we get. Swing a club, putt the ball, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually really improved my putting.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you.
I can see it. I can see it because you guys are actually like dialed in.
Yeah.
As I'm there getting a workout in, and it's kind of funny just because like we don't have a green right now.
Yeah.
So I just see Alvin bring out the foam balls.
Oh yeah.
facing
Well,
the wall,
I started that first. And
Did
then,
you? Oh yeah, that was right.
And then he's like, "Okay, I just need to hit the foam ball."
Oh, yeah.
So much that I set my son's hitting net in the backyard up to me so I could hit it's for baseball, so the holes are much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it once with one of the foam balls, went straight through, and I think I lost that one.
Well, at least you tried with the foam ball first.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm not hitting golf balls in my backyard, not by any means.
Oh yeah.
But then I put I got to get a larger tarp to put behind it.
Yeah.
To save the balls.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So there has been talk where we might put the net back up in the office.
Dude.
Well, I can't guarantee that. That's not my jurisdiction on that one. That's Alvin's thought. So if he wants to do it, I'm for it. But Alvin, if you're watching this, you gotta figure out how to put that one up here. But yeah, back to this. You mentioned a bunch of fun stuff here, and stuff that relates to you in terms of your golf swing. Like you said, it was a hip replacement. Was it hip replacement? Or?
I had my left hip replaced, like 23, 22.
Yeah, so hip replacement, arthritic hip.
Arthritic hip on the right.
Other side. So you don't have your quote unquote natural moving pieces that you had
Correct.
20 years ago, right? With that being said, when we talk about a golf swing, it gets really complex really fast, right?
Yeah.
Doc T likes to reference it. There's like 4 quintillion different variations on a swing, right? Now we have limited it when it comes to having both arthritis and a hip replacement. So when we talk about this mobility on a golf swing here, there's multiple avenues that the body can take here.
Definitely.
So,
lots of compensations.
Yeah, I'll give you some of the floor on what you found out here.
Okay.
Just mainly because like I understand golf, but you've been playing around with it a lot more. So how does that feel in terms of like what you have been feeling in terms of your restrictions and on your swing?
And I think that a lot. I took a golf class from a PT who really designed a whole program around golf, and really keyed into kind of my spinal mobility, the rotation of it, and that setup, and didn't really at the time, because my hips were not bothering me, did not really consider the hips. And then I was either watching something or listening to somebody, and they talked about our hip mobility with rotation in our backswing, and how you could turn your feet out, and that could change, give you a little bit more. I don't remember who I was watching, but it made me think, oh, okay, I can understand and see how if my hip just doesn't rotate as much, I'm not going to have as much. I'm not going to get to the point where I need to get to in the backswing if I'm trying more with my arms and my spine. Yeah. So I cut that down, and it just helped to. I think, reposition my feet a little bit, because in our backswing we go into relative hip internal rotation on our right. For a right-handed golfer, you go into right hip internal rotation, and then on the follow-through, all the internal rotation translates into the left hip. Oh. With my left hip being replaced, I've got full range of motion for the most part, without pain. My right hip, I've probably limited it by about 85 to 90% of internal rotation. So
that's significant.
Understanding that helped me kind of change my golf swing a little bit, only in the sense of cutting down my whole backswing, which is fine anyway, because I'm probably overswinging anyway.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, you've seen me golf at this point. It's definitely a grip it and rip it type of situation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, your technique is much better than mine. Yeah. But I like what you kind of said right there. Like you have some of that limitation in that. Was it internal or external rotation?
Internal rotation.
Internal rotation. Yeah. In your right hip, or was it like
right hip? Yeah. Right.
Left, right.
It's going, man.
It's going. But your right hip, your internal rotation on your right hip there. I just wanted to clarify. I'm talking about the right thing here. How do you get around that now?
The way I get around it is I focus a little bit more on my spinal rotations, making sure that I don't extend my spine too much. And like we were saying earlier, when I realized my back was kind of sore, and watching my patients, just working on my patients who have back pain, I always give them open book. Yeah. Open book helps. I know it does. And so I did it myself, and I was like, oh, wow, it made my back feel better. Yeah. Funny that. Gotta practice what I preach,
practice
right?
what I preach. I run into that all the time.
And so understanding that, I was like, oh, that helps my spinal rotation better. And then thinking about my hip rotation, I think just, again, being confident in not going 100% through any type of range of motion that I think I have, and really cutting it down by half made a huge difference. And then a little bit of like opening up my hip a little bit to compensate for that internal rotation deficit. So we're already at an external rotation point, and then moving into that internal rotation to take up that external rotation that I was given, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I would say that's probably the biggest compensation that I've made, and it's probably like 5 degrees of external rotation that I realized that it would be the biggest issue.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously that 5 degrees can make or break the ball going.
Yeah, no, it's amazing,
ways.
right?
But I like how you mentioned that you noticed that your low back was starting to extend on your follow through, which there'll be a level of that, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about rotation too, it doesn't come from the low back. It should actually come from
your thoracic spine.
Your thoracic spine.
Yes, exactly.
So when we talk about the low back and why a lot of golfers try to get, they happen to have low back pain. Like one, it happens because you can't access the hips well. And then two, you're trying to rotate through that low back. When we kind of look at that low back and how the facet joints, which are basically the two bones that kind of come down together on the backside to create that hinge where it actually kind of does the joint job there, they are facing each other. So one's this way and one's down that way. So when we talk about rotating it, you're basically taking that top bone and that bottom bone and then running them into each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not much rotation coming from that low back.
At all.
So when we're rotating through that low back, not that it doesn't happen, but when you are getting the majority of that off of there, it's going to hurt because you really have a very limited range of motion.
Yeah.
But in the same manner, when we talk about that mid back, the facets, they actually face in such a way that it allows it to rotate much better.
Right.
So for you to give the open book, although a low back pain thing, the problem wasn't in the low back.
No.
It was other places.
Yeah, thoracic spine, and then it also helps with that relative internal rotation in your hip because you are maintaining that 90-90 position of your hips and knees to kind of lock out the pelvis a little bit and then allow the rotation to happen in your in your spine. So it was nice. It was good, and then I did notice a little bit easier control of my swing after doing that, and after kind of limiting my backswing to about 50%.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
One question that I have here, you mentioned like, hey, you try to open books.
Yeah.
Right? So that mobility type of exercise to access those certain ranges. Have you tried any other stability type of exercises around it to be confident in those positions, or did you just try an open book?
What do you mean?
As in, like, did you try a bird dog row of some sort, a Palloff press in conjunction?
Oh yeah, no. I don't know if I did it immediately, but
practitioners, dude.
I know, right? No, it makes sense because if we're re-educating something, we got to strengthen it in that re-education. Did I do it that morning? I might have, but I don't know. But I would. That would be the other thing that I would do is, like you said, kind of add the stability portion to re-educate the muscle after it's been stretched out and mobilize the joint to give that joint the feedback that it needs now for that newer range of motion.
Yeah, there's some gold in what you just said right there. Like, obviously, you'll see, like, the mobility exercises, right?
Yeah.
To access that range. Are you able to get to here, right? But if we just get that in that morning or that evening or whatever it is, that's not bad. But we have to learn how to own those positions, right? So if you had to redo everything, right, and kind of give yourself other exercises to do on top of the open book stuff, what would you be?
Oh, I would definitely go right into. I did do some. I think at the same time I did that, I did some thread the needle, which again is kind of a mobility exercise. And I got into my lumbar spine with a little bit of prone press ups, but then I would for sure do pointer dog. I would probably do more. I might even just do like a hip extension in quadruped to start.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
To get everything kind of firing, and then add the arm for all the spinal rotators. making sure that I'm kind of in that good stable thoracic position before I add the arms, so that I feel like my shoulder blades are nice and stable.
Yeah.
And at that point, that would probably be what I would add, because I would vary it, make those variations in between just the quadruped position. Maybe even do like, what do we call it, the hover in that quadruped position, where you lift your knees.
Lift your knees on that one, yeah.
Yeah, almost like a plank, that bear plank or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I call it like a bear crawl hold.
Bear crawl hold, yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, that would be good. I would say that, and then what you could do is do kind of like a resisted, either a resisted rotation through like a half kneeling.
Okay, yeah.
Open book, or a standing open book, where you're holding the TheraBand and you resist that way, or like even like a resisted thread the needle in the sense.
Yeah. I mean, those are all great options, and as you guys are saying, like, there's more than one answer to solve this, but obviously it kind of depends on like what you present as, right? So we could be saying all these exercises and they not work for you, because that wasn't the problem, right? Was this a stability problem, mobility problem, flexibility problem? We could dive into hours off of that, and that's not the point of this one. We're going to try to keep it to the golf swing as contained as we can. But with that being said, it's like, we still need aspects of everything, right? We need to be able to get to that backswing within reason, right? For you had to limit yours just to actually play golf rather than, just to get up, right? But at the same time, right, if we're not stable in this back position, right, not even just for joint health or joint pain, if you're not stable here, you're not going to be able to translate that force forward to actually make a good golf swing, right? So it all kind of works together, right? What's the purpose of getting this motion if we can't use it, right? So that's where we get into the athletic part of SHARC, right? Outside of that, I know you've been working with a couple golfers here and there, right? Did you find any similarities in terms of your swing versus their swing, where you felt that, hey, if we work on this person's mobility, they're also going to improve on their overall yardage? Or has it just been like, oh, this is your own self journey recently?
A little bit of both. I would say, because like you said, we're all kind of different, and so things translate differently through our bodies. But I would say, for the most part, the generality of rotation is always a good idea, because there's so much rotation in the golf swing. But then also, I was watching somebody mention the fact that external rotation in our shoulder is a significant position in our backswing, because we got to get the elbow comes up to here, and that's external rotation. If we don't have that external rotation, again, we're going to be limited, and we're going to compensate somewhere. And so I found that, I think a universal kind of a universal thing I've seen is just having people kind of limit their backswing. I think we all try to swing too far. Because we think that that's going to generate a lot more power.
I see the thought process behind it.
But the other thing I've noticed too is the balance that it takes to maintain a golf swing. Something that I've seen that's really helped some of the golfers that I've worked with, especially some who are, I would say, the older population. Not that I'm not excluded from that, but to me, older would probably be more 65 and older. Is really like having them finish their golf swing, because a lot of golfers, a lot of the golfers that I've worked with who are over 60, 65, they don't finish their golf swing.
No, they don't.
And watching them swing, it's very erratic, and it's very like they don't stand in their final position and balance there. And if you can't balance there, you're losing a lot of that. And so some of that is mobility, because they can't maybe get to that position, but some of it's kind of almost habitual for something else that could have happened. And so the ones that the golfers that I've worked with who I've had them just hold it because their golf swing looks great. Just hold the end position, 5-second hold to maintain that balance. And they're like, wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh yeah.
that feels better already.
100%.
And I read somewhere that if we are trying to slow our golf swing down at the end, we're actually slowing the golf swing before impact. Because of the kind of the neuromuscular control that we need in order to actually stop the club, that has to start way before we even make impact with the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they're able to understand that finishing the golf swing is okay, and I think part of it is they just have that fear of maybe falling.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So that's why they've abbreviated their finish. And so if I can get them to hold that follow through, so that they're balancing in their follow through, changes how much more club speed they can get. Speed on their club head. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, that definitely makes sense. In my experience with working with the older population that tends to golf here, more than tends to golf, you guys play a lot of golf, way more than I do. I see a lot of like front hip discrepancies when it comes to that follow through, as in that they're not strong in that front hip. So when we talk about it, although yes, golf technically both feet are on the ground, at least you should be on the ground, unless you've had a couple fun stuff on the golf course, spicy water as I like to call it. But you should have some front hip stability to kind of keep everything together, right? So you should be able to put on the brakes with that front hip and really be able to hold that position well. If not, you're kind of leaking energy everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're going to spray everywhere. Right. Whether that ball goes behind you, I don't know how, but it can. To the right, to the left, you shank it, you hook it. Like, that could all happen if you don't access that front hip and be stable through everything, right? Obviously, like you kind of mentioned, they could be scared of falling. I've definitely been there before because the grass has been a little slippery, and yes, all the other stuff happened. We'll keep it at that. And when you're going through it, you tend to slow down that golf swing. I never thought about that because I didn't even think about my finish position. I just said hit the ball,
right?
Since I was just so focused on trying to do that, I slowed down the club head and everything got a little funky, right? But with that being said, right, I mentioned the front hip stuff. Your front hip is that hip replacement thing, right?
Yes.
Did you feel any problems getting into your golf swing after the hip replacement, or it helped it for you?
Oh yeah, totally helped.
100%, I understand. And plus, after that, since you're a PT, you probably did all your exercises that you're supposed to.
All the time, yeah.
All the time,
every day.
100%.
Of course.
All the time.
Never
missed it.
Never missed a day.
Yeah, we're so bad at taking care of ourselves, guys. So do as we say, not as we do. We try our best, but sometimes we forget. Too.
The good thing about being a physical therapist is you can actually get to stretch with your patients. So, I worked it in there.
Oh, you worked it in there. It just wasn't according to program.
Maybe not.
I've definitely done the same thing with my powerlifting patients out there. I'm like, I should be doing that right now.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. We talked about, the mobility of that golf swing, getting to the backswing. We even talked about finishing, right? Thinking about that one. Is there anything that you've seen in terms of just even the transition from that backswing to your full finish position that sometimes limits people in their swing? I know Alvin was kind of talking about this with it to me, where a lot of times we try to disassociate the hip from the club head. So we almost try to get to that over big backswing here, and we get to some funky positions and sometimes pain. Have you seen anything similar, or have you seen anything along different lines that could cause hip pain or low back pain?
Maybe just an apprehension of moving other joints that could be in, or other areas of the spine that could be in pain. Like if somebody has neck pain,
that's a good one.
As well as even like a foot or a knee issue. That's probably the biggest thing that I've looked at. And there's so many like little spots along the way where your elbow is, or where your head should be. So and I think I go back to kind of the neck thing is because if we move our head too much, that changes how we swing. If we lift our head up too soon to find the ball, even before we've hit it, we can't see what we're hitting. So and it changes our body position, and that can change the golf swing itself. So I would say probably more just, I've seen just kind of more that apprehension to move a certain area, and not so much anything that would lead to any extra pain.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Pain in terms of swings are always funky, right? Because like, is it painful because of the mechanics of it, or is it painful because it's a repetitive motion that the body wasn't ready for? Or was it because of apprehension, right? So pain, I wish, was black and white. It's not.
I know, right?
Yeah. So some things that could cause pain for someone may not cause pain for someone else.
The other thing I've seen actually recently, and that's probably just primarily with me, but is actually golfer's elbow.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it sucks, dude. Both my elbows are very, very sore. The inside of my elbow, right at my joint. I attribute it not to golf because it was not there before when I was golfing prior to when I believe it happened, but it happened, I think, from doing kettlebell snatches.
I can see that. I could see that.
And I was like doing the exercise, thinking, not even thinking of that.
Yeah.
And thinking like, oh, I'm just perfecting my technique and getting it the way I felt like it was supposed to be. And then 2 weeks later, golfer's elbow.
No, yeah. Yeah, technically. Like, you could be golfing and do that at the same time.
And I was.
Yeah.
So I felt like
overloaded the tissue for that, that moment. Too much, too soon, too fast, too early. All those rules.
Yeah, man, it was not good.
Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious. It's golfer's elbow, but not from golf, even though you golf.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. I've been golfing a ton, and it wasn't, and even because it was before that, I was golfing. We were golfing a lot, and then I did the exercise, and week later, boom.
There you go. Sometimes you can have it and do the sport and not have it. Like, I've technically had a version of golfer's elbow, and when we talk about golfer's elbow, do you want to like kind of explain what that is for us?
It's
a general term.
It's a general term. It's a tendonitis to the medial elbow, where the extensor tendon or the flexor tendon of the wrist attaches to the humeral condyle on the medial side. And technically it's because they say it happens because you kind of contact the ground with the club head, and just like tennis elbow, when you hit a backhand, the ball hitting the strings on the tennis racket create this really quick stop motion, and that injures the tendon on the outside. That's tennis elbow. Well, you do the same thing with a golf swing when you come down, and if your club head hits the ground, it generates that quick little tension there, which was actually what I realized was happening when I was doing the kettlebell snatch.
Snatch
all the way over my head, boom, really snapping my elbow like that. And I didn't feel it when I was doing it, but then add the golf swing, hit the ground enough, boom, irritation.
And really, I want to clarify some air on that one, because a lot of people think it's just that quick snap, right?
Yeah.
It's the consistency of it. I think consistency
the
of it.
The overuse
If you chunk it once, it's not bad, right? You'll take off some grass, you'll have a laugh about it, or be mad about it. I usually laugh about it.
Because that's happened. Because that happened to me many times before I did the kettlebell exercise.
And it hasn't been a problem, right?
No.
But we talk about the repetitiveness of it when we talk about the kettlebell snatching, right?
Yes.
Doing that a bunch of times.
Yes.
About like 10,
many times.
Usually about like 10 to 20, whatever
exactly.
it is. 10 to 20 times per set, or whatever the exercise calls
but then
for.
you do 2 or 3 sets of that. Then
so that's like 60
and now
reps.
lots of kettlebell complexes are 4, 5, 6 sets.
So let's say we'll just call it 3 just for the sake of math. That's 60 reps, right?
Yeah.
If we're doing 20s. And then outside of that, same day you go play golf.
Yeah.
And we'll just call it a 9 round, right?
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about how many swings it took you to get there, but let's just say there was a lot of swings in there, right?
A lot of swings.
So you
could have hit the ground every once in a while.
Every once in a while, and you just went from not doing a bunch of snatches, adding 60 weighted snatches to it, plus chunking the ground multiple times.
Yeah.
Plus just the regular swings and everything, because that still induces the wrist flexors and part of everything, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of load that is introduced randomly, right?
Yeah.
So that also leads to pain, right?
Yeah.
So we're not saying that chunking the ground is the best thing to do, but we're also saying that it's not the main culprit unless it's all the time, right? Kind of the same thing with the tennis swing. There's differences here and there. But yeah, these motions, those kettlebell snatches, those golf swings, they're not bad things, right? It's just, did you do too much too early?
Yeah.
And was your body ready for it? Yeah, that's another great topic that we can jump down. But I don't want to bore you guys for too long, because I feel like I could add another hour to that.
Right.
But yeah. So you introduced kettlebell snatches on that one.
Yeah. So that was
that when we were talking about it?
That was an interesting. No.
Yeah. Because I did ask you about kettlebell snatches.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. But it was an interesting. Like, it took me a while to realize that was it, because I kept thinking like, okay, well, I didn't have any pain playing for so long, and I was like slamming the ground at times, and feeling like I should injure myself.
Yeah.
But then I realized, okay, there was this one complex that I wanted to try. I wanted to master that. And as anybody who knows who does kettlebell swings, it's hard sometimes to get that kettlebell to swing around and not slam it on your forearm.
Yeah.
Right. So I felt like I had perfected it, but in perfecting that, you do definitely hyperextend, you hyperextend your elbow for sure. So that was definitely something that was fascinating to me, that I think at times didn't necessarily always affect my golf swing, but I could feel it for sure. And I've it's getting better. Yeah. I loaded a little bit more to strengthen everything around it, and that's helped for sure.
That's like the overall answer. Yeah. Yeah. Because like if we're able to take more load into like those muscles and you've prepared them, that's usually generally a good thing. And he'll be proud of this. He hasn't done it recently, but you have done it before. You've asked me to treat.
Yes. No. And it's definitely helped. David's helped me for sure to kind of hone into the area, and I do a little bit of work on it myself at home and stuff. So it's been good. And I've noticed that going back to a consistent like farmer's carry, something to load it like that has really helped for sure. And I noticed this interesting about myself. When I'm not lifting weights, when I'm not gripping a weight, it affects kind of my overall strength in my arms and my hands and my wrists and the stability of all of that. And so that's one of the reasons why I've gone back to the farmer's carry, because I feel like that's a really good. And I feel like, and especially on staying on that topic of kind of the golf swing and things that affect it is, a lot of experts that I hear talk about gripping the club. They say you're just barely holding on. You're not trying to strangle it.
That's not me.
So, like they say, grip it like you're holding a baby bird. And that's how you're supposed to hold. That's how light you're supposed to hold the club.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely not how.
No, I'm strangling that bird. That poor bird.
The bird would be dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's been interesting and adjusting, and it's helped adjust that too, make me feel like I don't have to, hold on to the club, and I'm not going to let it go when I swing.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna laugh about this back to the golf swing just a little bit. So when I went golfing with you guys. I wasn't with you guys. No, this was another time, but that was another injury. We'll talk about that one too. Here. So as you guys know, you've heard me talk about me powerlifting and everything like that. It just happened to be one of the weeks where my coach had a lot of volume in, and with the weight that we're pushing, it's a lot of weight. So it was deadlift for volume. And then we were using bumper plates at the time, and the bar kind of came back and jammed my wrist when I put it down. So it wasn't like anything like bad, but I noticed it felt funky. So I had to do some like wrist rehab to make sure everything was there. And plus, technically, it's a trauma, a bunch of weight coming down, hitting the wrist. But it just really wasn't going away. I think this is my right. Yeah, this is my right wrist or my left wrist. I've done it to both in different times. But my friends wanted to go to Topgolf, right? So like we went to Topgolf, we started playing, and I was a little bit concerned because like, hey, I had work the next day, wrist was hurting, we were about to go golf, and I didn't know what was going to happen, right? So there I was, not using the light grip, but I was definitely gripping it, ripping it, and we were making great contact. Next day, wrist felt fantastic.
No way.
So my poor golf swing actually helped my wrist here. I'm not saying to go do that.
Yeah.
But
activating all those muscles.
All the muscles there, it just made it work, right? So that's one story. But the second story was I was actually golfing with you and Alvin, and you should ask Alvin about that one because he had a really sick birdie that day.
That was awesome.
End the round, right? That was amazing. We were just going home after that. I didn't even want to finish my round after that.
That was amazing.
But that was the first time, like, getting into a golf swing since tearing my meniscus, if you guys remember that. Yeah. I was concerned about my golf swing a little bit because it's pretty violent because I'm not a golfer. I'm gonna be the first one to say that. I'm not a golfer. I just happen to golf with you guys for fun.
Sure.
And then 2, like that was a pretty freshly torn meniscus. I think it was like a month since it happened.
I didn't realize it was that soon.
Oh
after.
yeah, and I was just gonna go. I was gonna go have fun with the guys.
Like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But I also remember trying to rotate off of that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, just a little bit. So if you think about the golf swing, right, there will be some knee rotation.
Oh yeah.
Especially in that back leg, and really more the front leg.
More the front leg.
More the front leg.
But yeah, both.
But if you're as violent as I am, everything's gonna move. Yeah, everything's gonna move. But I was surprised that we were okay. And funny enough, my knee didn't swell up the next day. I thought it was gonna happen.
That's good.
And if you remember that, I had a really beautiful shot.
That was awesome.
No idea how I did that.
Yeah.
But hey, it happened.
We always get one of those.
Oh yeah, it happened. So yeah,
sure.
fun day at the course here. In terms of talking about the golf swing and like low back and mobility and knees, elbows, kind of hit a bunch of stuff generally, right? Is there anything that you'd like to add on top of it to tell these guys get something checked out or not? Or
I would say, if you're having strange sensations in your spine, like kind of at the end of your range, that can sometimes be a little bit of like facet issue, maybe even a rib issue that might happen.
Yeah.
That might need to be checked out. Anything like that. Again, end of range stuff is usually where we see some of the
that's a good thing.
the weakness.
Yeah.
Right. And so shoulder can happen again because you're in that externally rotated position on the right, and for most right-handers that's our throwing shoulder. And so if you're throwing a lot with kids or with friends, that can kind of creep in. And then throwing it itself is a rotational motion as well, not quite as extreme as the golf swing, but it does happen.
It does happen.
And so I would say those are probably some of the things, other than the hip things that would present, and then maybe knee or ankle pain.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. But mostly I would say if you're having anything on the end of range, like in the backswing at the end or in your follow through, and maybe even sometimes it can happen because of contact.
Oh yeah.
So
if I could give you any lasting message from this one, because I'm all about the lasting message and takeaways here, it's get assessed before it gets bad, right?
Yes. Don't wait to try to let it get better.
Yeah.
Go and see somebody sooner than later.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we also do this too. Is like we do one free assessment.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I had one
it's
today.
no risk for you. You had one a day. I saw. I was kind of jealous. I
That was great. No, he did great. He's a marathoner.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I think he sounds like more like a triathlete, but he's running a marathon coming up and has a little plantar fasciitis or fibrosis or fasciitis.
He has foot pain.
Yeah,
he has foot pain. I'm not even gonna try. But yeah, basically all of that to say is like, just let's get it assessed before it becomes a real big problem, right?
Yeah.
Because once it becomes a big problem, we don't want you to have to spend too much money, then you don't have to, right?
Right.
We want
Absolutely.
you to be playing your sport for a long time rather than us having to tell you, hey, you need to stop before this is worse.
Right.
But yeah, all that to say, I feel like we beat this topic to the
I think
ground.
we did really well.
Did as best as we can. Don't worry, Dotsy will be back for other stuff too. He hasn't been kicked off the show. He's still here.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, you'll hear him in the next couple episodes here. But yeah, I feel like we got everything here. So just to put a bow on this, golf swing, go see Nandi. You can see me, but I'll probably kick you over to Nandi or Alvin. They'd be more appropriate for that. But if you like my personality, we could go do something else too.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah.
Yeah, and we're working on. I'm working on trying to integrate more mobility with most of my treatments, as well as specify a some type of warm up mobility exercise routine for all those patients who play golf.
Yeah, and it'll be fun. Yeah, I can definitely tell that Alvin and Nandi are both having a fun time on that side with all the golf balls over there. They'll be hitting it while I'm like bench pressing too. I'm like, guys, it's gonna hit me in the face, and I don't want this weight to fall on my face right now. But yeah, all of that to say, you'll definitely be in good hands if you're with Nandi or Alvin here. But to put a bow on this, I'm Dr. David, and it's Nandi.
It's Nandi.
And this is SHARC Doc Talk, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Yeah.